Well, good day and welcome everybody. It's Brad Sugars here and welcome to today's webinar. We are in for a treat. We got a lot to cover off, so we are going to get moving and we're going to move pretty dang quick today. So Billionaire in Training, obviously it's the name of my book, but today's webinar is going to be on that subject. And really what we're aiming to try and achieve today is a very simple message, and that is to say, how can you simply and happily build the life of your dreams through business and investing? You know, money doesn't rule your life, but without it, it makes life a lot more complex and a lot more difficult. So we're going to take a look at that money side of things today and how that actually can work for you. So today's agenda, let me be very clear on what it is that we're going to cover off on today, because we only have a small amount of time together, and my goal is to dramatically change the way you think about things in the following ways. Number one, I want to make sure you have confidence where you previously had uncertainty. I want to make sure there is clarity where once you had confusion. And I really want to unlock the true potential you have to make a dent in the universe. So clarity, confidence, and unlocking that potential is the main realization of what we're here to do today. Yet, if nothing else, my goal of being here with you today is a very, very simple one. The goal is to make certain that what we do is help you make money, and lots of it. Type in yes in the chat window if you're in agreement with that. Now, by the way, I don't want you to just type in the word yes. You've got to say yes without saying yes, if that makes sense. All right. So I don't want you to actually use the word yes. I want you to use some other word that is like yes, but not the word yes, okay? So we can make sure we get some creativity going up here in the building today. I like it, absolutely. Okay, super. No diz out. That's a cool one, Sage. Thank you for that one. 100%, very nice way of putting it in there. Damn right. If we do nothing else today, then focus on the clarity, confidence, unlocking your true potential, but mostly making you a bunch more investment money, making you that money, then I know that we make sure everybody is happy. That is what we're aiming to do. So keep that yes focus in mind. So to do that, we got to take a look at something. I need something from you. If I'm going to give you the best of the best, I need something from you. And that is, I need you to commit. I need you to say that I'm going to do this stuff. Because if we run into each other in a few years' time and you say, yeah, I'm still in the same situation I was, Brad, when I first met you on that webinar, then that's going to be a pain. That's not going to be the thing that we need. I need implementation. I need you to say that I am going to do this thing. So again, give me a yeah, but not yes. You can't use the word yes. Give me a yes that you agree to implement what you learned today. You're going to take action on it. You're going to do what you need to do. Again, make sure that you are all in on this thing. Now, when I take a look at quotes around that, you only have to do very few things right in your life so long as you don't do too many things wrong. Mr. Buffett, that's actually, I got to play poker with Mr. Buffett 2 times. He bought the company NetJets and managed the jets. And hey, presto, they ran a poker tournament. I got to play with him twice. I do actually have a story on that where I got to go all in against Warren Buffett. I did lose, but I had suited ace king. Going in on suited ace king is not too bad when you're playing against the king, Mr. Buffett. So when we do this, do we have a deal? Do we have deals that you are going to implement? Okay, how do I know that you're going to implement? Type it in. Make sure that you know I have a comment and a commitment from you to implement. If that's the deal we have, then we are off and racing. So how did we get here? How did I get here, okay? How did we get to this whole thing of Brad Sugars being a teacher? Let me show you my last 30 years in 3 minutes or less if I can. It all started back in 93. This gentleman by the name of Rob Kiyosaki asked me to come and teach in Hawaii at his business school for entrepreneurs. You'll see if you can pick me. Which one's me? What makes me stand out in that group other than the fact that I look like I'm 12? All right. What makes me stand out in that group? Yes, I'm the guy with the hat on, the baseball cap. That's John Burley between me and Rob Kiyosaki. My buddy in the yellow shirt right on the far right-hand side, that's Bill Sharpoff. He sent me this photo recently. On the far left side, that's Dame Jenny Tay. So great group of people teaching in 1993. Tall much? Yes. Absolutely. I'm standing way behind them all. I'm still the tall guy in the room. So there you go. That's the way that happened. From there, I started Action Coach. Action Coach is now in 83 countries, 1,100 offices, partners around the world, my franchise partners, hundreds of millions in annual revenue. This was the first ever training of new franchise partners for Action Coach. So that was at Hyatt Coolum, Queensland, Australia, 1993. This is one of my franchise partners today, Juliet Kaiser. In fact, if you look in that photo with me in the background, that's actually Juliet's parents who became my franchise partners about 10, 12 years ago. Now Juliet, their daughter, runs that firm. And this is her talking about her results and how they keep growing and what happens by applying what you do. So how often do I teach? Well, for 30 years, I've been doing this thing called teach. I've done it all over the world, mostly offline until, and I'll tell you the story of how I came to start doing this online. That's actually me in Indonesia at a press conference. That's in London. That's my buddy Steve Leach, my first ever business coach. That's my training room. Oh, that's my books in an airport across somewhere in the world. That one's in the UK. That one, I forget where that is. That one I can't remember either. There's been so many of these dang things. That one there, I remember that one. That was in actually, I don't remember where that one was. The teaching has been going for 30 plus years. That one I know, that was in the center of London. I remember that one because my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was in the audience at that one. That's how I remember where that one was. Lauren was sitting there. So when we do all of these things and we take a look at how does 30 years of teaching impact you, what is the important factor behind that? Oh yeah, there's the truck advertising my events. There you go. And I think that was in Florida, if I remember correctly. But this 30 years of teaching and writing all of these books, yes, 18 books on the subject. What does it do? Well, let me give you an example. This is John. John's become a buddy of mine over the years. John attended my training in 2005, and you can read John's words on there. That's him picking up his first Urus. On the bottom right, that's him picking up his race Lamborghini. The guy's built $100 million based on what I teach. And having been doing this since 1993, I've been teaching since. This is why I have the results I have. So if you want these results, again, type it in, say, yeah, this is the thing. And when you say, yeah, this time, make sure you tell me where you're at. So here's what happened. My 50th birthday was in the middle of COVID. I took my family down to Mexico and we sat on the beach for a while. But when I was teaching, that's in my house here in Las Vegas, I was teaching in front of a camera with actually, that's my daughter's ring light. You know, I have 5 kids, so I stole my daughter's ring light. And what I did is I built the TV studio during COVID. It was my 50th birthday present to myself, so I can teach you online now. I don't have to travel the world and do it offline and go to events and travel to all those places. Now I get to reach you here today. So here's what we're going to do on today's webinar. What we're going to do is make sure that you get to learn a bunch. We're going to cover off my formula for success is one of the first things we're going to do. Then I'm going to take you through the ladder of making sure that entrepreneurial wisdom, entrepreneurial reality, and the results, that whole money thing is there. London in the house, Atlanta in the house. Great to see. Keep it coming. Tell me where you're at. Charlotte, North Carolina, Nigeria in the building. Good to see. Philly in the house. We're going to go through my formula for buying, building, and selling companies. We're going to go through the 8 rules on that. We're going to go through the real estate program. Michigan in the building, Houston in the building, Trinidad in the house, Oxfordshire, Malaysia, Miami. We got the whole world. South Africa in the building, Port Elizabeth. Good to see. So before we dive in, I have a quick question for you, okay? And this is going to require your understanding. This is the thing. I'm going to ask you, are you willing to learn and grow to achieve your goals? Are you willing to learn and grow to achieve your massive goals? Because if you want growth, if you want the achievement in your life to be massive, then you've got to do it, because you have to remember this thing. The 80-20 rule still applies. 80% of people are not on this webinar with us today. The 20% that will take action are you. You're here, you're taking action, you're learning and growing. It's still true today that you got to learn before you earn. That will not change. It has not changed. It will not change. So give me a yeah. Are you willing? And remember, you can't type in the word yes. Canada in the house, go Oilers, go Knights. That's what we got. And the final one on here, are you willing to go for billionaire status? This is not millionaire in training. This is billionaire in training. If you are willing to learn and grow, then I'm willing to be your teacher. I'm willing to be your mentor. I'm willing to help you get there. I remember as a kid, one of my biggest problems was sitting there thinking, you know, I want to do hundreds of millions of dollars, but who's going to teach me? And the problem was most people don't like teaching. I love teaching. Teaching is my passion. Running businesses is something I do. When you look at all of the companies that I own and run, Action Coach is the one I'm most known for. Obviously, the books, the Wealth Coach, Billionaire and Training, all those books is what I'm most known for. But my catering business, my commercial cleaning business, all of the normal day-to-day businesses that we are in, the restaurant, all of those normal businesses succeed because of what you're looking at here today. The billion is where we're at. We're billionaire bound. That is the goal. So 30 years of learning is what got me here. Let me explain that to you. That's my buddy Jeffrey Gittimer, who I learned sales from. That's Scott McCain, who I learned from. Mari Smith, the internet, Facebook queen. That's Stedman Graham. He's leadership. He's better known as Oprah's husband, but Stedman teaching. Dr. Ivan Miser on BNI. I've read more than 2,000 books. I read a book a week. I've done that since I was 16 years of age. Michael Port, Book Yourself Solid. Marshall Goldsmith, our company actually coaches his company, but he's the #1 executive coach in the world. That's my good buddy Keith Cunningham. He's the original rich dad, okay? The guy who taught the whole system to Robert Kiyosaki that Sharon Lechter then put into a book. That's Lady Michelle Moan, my good friend from the UK, Baroness Moan. Dr. Jim Kim, when we went and helped consult with the World Bank, all of my learning. And this, by the way, I have events that I run all around the world called BizX in the UK, in Spain, in Australia, in Vietnam, here in the United States, in Nashville, in Vegas. And I bring in all of these speakers. Why? Because I want to learn from them. So I get to do it. I go on stage with them all, of course, but little do they all know that I own and run that company. So having Seth Godin, I interviewed Lord Sugar. He always thought it was funny that I changed my name just to get the interview. But these are the people. My original mentor, the Paul Dunn, he was the first mentor I ever had in business. My other original mentor, Dame DC Cordova, the Money and You organization. That's me coming off stage with Sir Richard. I spoke just before Sir Richard, and I walked off stage, and his first comment was, "Nice outfit." Yeah, we got the memo. Les Brown, I've been learning from these guys forever. Grant, actually, that's not me learning from Grant. That's Grant interviewing me on Power Players because he wanted to learn from me about how to grow a global business. So how do I pack all of that? This is my challenge, okay? If I've invested millions of dollars and thousands of hours studying wealth, success, and all of that, how do I get that into 1 hour? How do I get everything that I've done in 30 years of running a business, more than 20,000 hours of study? How do I get that and put it into 1 hour for you? Well, here's how. My goal in life is simplification. It's what I do. It's what I've always done. All of my books, all 18 of them, are simplified down. Everything my franchisees at Action Coach do, every business I own, we simplify, simplify, simplify. And that's what we're going to do. So today, I'm going to take 30 years and put it into one system for you here. Are you with me? Say, yeah, keep going. Take notes and be ready. So the Billionaire in Training system. What we're going to do today is show you how to happily and simply create a life on purpose with health, wealth, and happiness by understanding the systems, both cash flow and capital, to build generational wealth for you and your family. If that's what you're up for, and get ready, let's go. Let's make some notes and let's do this thing. So here's the program, Billionaire in Training. That's the book. It's a bestseller. It's sold all over the world. Every time someone meets me, they say, "Brad, you know the book that changed my life?" Billionaire in Training, the model that we're teaching you here today. It took me 17 years to work out this formula, though. The success formula that we're going to go through right now, 17 years of evolving this formula to finally work out exactly how it is that success happens. You can work a lot harder, but that doesn't mean you're going to get to your goals and make them a reality. Now that I've been teaching this stuff for now 13 years, I've been teaching this formula. My dreams and goals become a reality much faster. My students' goals become a reality much faster. And what has to happen right now is you're going to understand with this formula what's holding you back, not just what's going to get you there, but what's holding you back. The formula works so you don't have to. So let's go through it. If you want things to come easier, follow this formula, write it down. Christy, thanks for noting that. That's an awesome book. Dreams, write this formula down for me, gang. We're going to spend 5 minutes on it. I want you to have it written down so you can make your notes. Dreams times goals times learning times plans times actions equals success. So your dreams, Somerset Maugham said it best. If not at first a dream, nothing. If not at first a dream. You achieve nothing if you don't start with dreams. When I meet people and I teach them how to build their dreams, build their dream charts, dream journals, dream whatever, when you learn how to build your dreams, you're attracting that into your life. If you don't have your dreams documented somehow in picture form, in word form, in something, it's never going to happen. And, you know, one of the things that I find is when I give people permission to dream, it changes their life. So your dreams then got to be turned into goals. Anything over 10 years is a dream. And people say, I don't want to write my dreams down. I don't know how they're going to happen. That's the point. By definition, it's a dream. If you knew how it was going to happen, it's not a dream, it's a to-do item. Dreams got to be turned into goals. Goals got to be turned into learning. See, the reason you write a goal is so you know what you got to learn. Once you write a goal, if you wrote a goal to double your income, you got to start studying people who've doubled their income. If you set a goal to run a marathon, you got to study. How do I run a marathon? You got to do the training. You got to do the work. So from the learning comes the plan. And that's one of the big things that I'm firm on with people, building a wealth plan, building a business plan, building a life plan, having those things built in, knowing where we're going, knowing what we're going to do. I need you to understand that this is the path for your success. Once you build that plan. Now, what that leads us to then is this formula here. Be times do equals have. If you build you, then you build the plan, then the plan becomes a reality. You know, I'm not a get rich quick guy. I can help you make a lot of money fast, but I'm a get rich over time guy because it takes time to build wealth. It doesn't build it in a millisecond. It builds time. So be times do equals have. What does that mean? Who you are multiplied by what you do determines what you have. Who you are multiplied by what you do determines what you have. So you've got to build you so that you do things differently so that you have what you want to have. Now you can work this backwards. Again, if I go backwards one slide and say to you, okay, once you build your dreams and goals, that's what you want to have. Then you do the learning and build the plan and take action. That's what you got to do. But what we're here also looking at is before we get to the formula of how wealth happens, I got to help you understand how you happen, how you become the type of person that attracts and builds that success into your life. You know, it took me 30 years of study to build this stuff. I want you to follow it. So your questions right now that are on in your head, okay? Is it worth taking the time to determine your dreams, taking the time to actually put them down on paper? Then I go back to the question I asked you earlier. Are you willing to grow into your dreams and goals? Are you willing to commit yourself to your future? I need you to understand that when you're willing to commit, then I will commit to you. So give me a yeah. Again, don't use the word yes. Give me some form of yes. And don't use the one you used before. Type it in. If you're willing to commit to your future. You know, when Sir Richard, and I showed you that photo of me and him earlier, that, by the way, is where he quoted me in his blog post. You know, it's Sir Richard, when Sir Richard quotes you, you're doing pretty good in the entrepreneurial world. You know, if somebody offers you, I'm not seeing enough ready to goes there, gang, type it in. 10-4, good buddy. That's excellent. Let's go. If someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes and then learn how to do it later. Sir Richard is a massive example. More than 400 businesses that guy owns. You know, I sit here and think I'm doing good with 11 companies. I just take a look in the mirror and go, yep, Sir Richard is kicking my butt. I got to keep going, keep going, keep going. So the Billionaire in Training ladder, let's understand the ladder of how this wealth actually works. So if you don't know the roadmap to get to where you want to go, it makes it much harder to get to where you want to go. When you know the rungs, your level of certainty, I go back to what it is I said at the start of today, confidence, certainty, and live your purpose and make your mark out there in the world. Ultimately, for me, understanding success should be taught to every kid. That's why my foundation does it. If you got kids that want to learn this stuff, actioncoachfoundation.org, send them there. Make sure they learn this stuff. It's free for all the kids that want to learn this stuff. So if we go billionaire versus millionaire, all right? Over your lifetime, you probably build and sell many companies if you're a true entrepreneur. And that's what we're looking to build, true entrepreneurs. Once you know how to do it, you can do it as many times as you want. So this ladder, I want you to learn how to get off of level 1, okay? Most people work that 40-40-40 system, work 40 years for 40 hours to live on 40% of the paycheck. That's a dumb system. Learn money, understand money. What if it took you 10 years to learn money? What if it took you 20 years to learn money? But at the end of that 20 years, you are a master of money and money works for you rather than you working for money. If it took you 10 years to do that, and see, this is where a lot of people sit there and go, well, I'm not sure I want to do 10 years. Well, 10 years is faster than never. Okay, get that clear in your mind. Capitalizing your work is key. And I'm going to teach you about capitalizing and how often you want to capitalize as we go through today. But the faster and more often you can capitalize your work, the faster wealth becomes a reality for you. So here's the ladder. Let's start at the bottom of this thing. Level -1. Level -1 is the student, okay? The student is level -1. You have to go to school, you go to college, you learn these things. What are you as a student? You're an apprentice employee, okay? It's your employee apprenticeship. I call it level -1 because being a student costs money, whether it costs your parents or society money, someone is paying for you to go to school, okay? From there, when we go to step 2, we become an employee. An employee is where now you got to pay back some of that cost of you going to school. You got to pay some taxes. You got to pay those things. Make sure that you do this. By the way, thanks, Nate, for pointing something out. When you get a BFO today, a BFO in my world stands for blinding flash of the obvious. When I remind you of something that you learned once and you stopped doing or forgotten, when I remind you of a new learning, when I bring out a new thought in you, type it into the chat window. That way we keep getting people learning new things from each other. This is a community that we build. As a community, we learn and we grow. So as an employee, you're an apprentice business owner. So from employee, you move to self-employed, okay, where it's just you. You're the only person in the company. You got to do everything. You got to, it's like a seesaw. Find the work, do the work. Make the sale, do the work. Make the sale, do the work. We got to keep moving through. You then move up to that manager level, okay, where now you've got some employees. In the beginning, that's like a merry-go-round. You're just running round and round in circles, putting out the fires, they start. Eventually, as you learn and more, because at self-employed, you got a lot to learn. You got to learn sales, you got to learn marketing, you got to learn finance, you got to learn these things. At a manager level, you got to learn management, leadership, you got to learn systemization, planning, cash flow management. All the learnings have to take place. Finally, you become the owner of the business. And that's where you use my definition. Write this down. My definition of a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. That's my definition of a business. And so we've got to learn that and keep growing from it. Now, we take that and we become an investor. And that's a lot of what we're going to focus in on today, these top 2 levels, levels 4 and 5, okay? How do we become an investor? And the 3 classes of investment, businesses, real estate, and shares. They're the 3 major classes of investment. Get to more on that in just a little while. And ultimately, you get to this level 5 where you are the entrepreneur. See, at level 4, you're using your money. You're investing your money to buy into deals. At level 5, you're bringing in other people's money. Other people are investing in deals you put together. It's a different level altogether. But that entrepreneur, that's the ultimate level that you want to get to in this process. And I'm going to teach you my formula for that. That's how we get there. So again, will you commit yourself? Commit to your own dreams. Commit to making your life working for someone else or working for yourself. That's really what we got to do. You know, how many times do you think people may say maybe next time? You can't do maybe next time. You got to start now. You got to start today. The old saying of when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Today. If you are willing, commit, then tell me yes. Commit to yourself. Because remember, I only asked you for one thing at the start of the day. That is that you will apply what you learn. You will apply it. You will apply what you learn, and you do this thing. My good friend, Fran Drescher, I was on the board of Franny's charity. You all know her as the nanny. You know, if we don't empower ourselves with knowledge, then we're going to be led down a garden path. Get the knowledge. Hell yes. I love that one. Thanks, Kelly. Fadzley, I'm committing to myself today. Fran put it greatly that she said, my whole life has been about changing negatives into positives. I got famous and then I got cancer and now I live to talk about it. Sometimes the best gifts comes from the ugliest packages. You know, if you don't have resources, you got to be resourceful. I mean, people say, well, I can't afford that. I can't do this. Listen, in the beginning, I didn't have resources. I had to be resourceful. I had to find a way. And that's what all of us are asked to do. So back to this point, 10 years is faster than never. How do we understand that? See, when people ask me to teach them to get rich, they mess it up. Why? They want to get rich quick. Yes, you can make money fast, and we'll do more on that. But the challenge is ultimate wealth does take time, and you got to build a plan. What? You got to build yourself. You got to get the knowledge, and from the knowledge, you build the plan. We weren't born with the knowledge of money. How do we get there? So you got to make sure that, and like when I was a kid, I grew up in Australia, and one of the things we learn is to swim with the current. And what does that mean? Well, when you go out and swimming, if there was a rip, you didn't fight against the rip. You went with it and off to the side and then came back in. It's like if you fall in a raging river. The market, the trend is bigger than you and me, and we got to know what that trend looks like. Once you understand what's coming and how the trend works, and there's a lot more detail in what I'm about to show you, but I'm going to give you a starting point, okay? Understanding the cycle of the economy. Summer goes into fall, goes into winter, goes into spring, goes back into summer. If we look at the economy right now around the world, is inflation kicking in? Yes, inflation's kicking in. So where are we? We're in the end of summer, moving into fall. There's no two ways about it that that's what's happening. I don't think it's going to be a heavy fall, but I think that we're going to have, and yes, autumn or fall, whichever part of the world you're in, we got to understand that. But as we understand that that fall becomes winter, and again, I don't think we're going to have a very long winter. I think that, you know, the interest rate rise today is just going to, you know, push that fall through a little faster, and therefore we're going to hit winter, and then we'll hit spring again. When do I see spring kicking in? Next U.S. elections is about the time the economy will shift back into spring and move back into summer. Now, understanding this about money determines when you invest in things. It determines how you invest in things. So let me teach you the number one philosophy that's going to bring you wealth. I'm going to get to the 8 rules in just a moment, but I need to teach you the philosophy. See, if you understand how I think, how many times have I asked you to commit to yourself? If you understand how I work mentally, you'll understand how I work. What is leverage? Well, when I first learned leverage, I learned the mathematical formula, divide to multiply. You got to break things down into the smallest parts, fix them, and then you multiply the end result. What leverage I teach it a different way. And this is what you're going to learn from me today and forever. If this is your first time learning from me or your 100th time learning from me, you are going to understand that my goal is to turn you into a leverage machine, a machine of work once, paid forever. Why did I write this book, The Wealth Coach? Not a trick question. How many times did I write the book? once. How long will I get paid for this book? Forever. The goal of a business, a commercial profitable enterprise that works without me. I build the business once. It pays me back forever. This is the goal. Do the work once, get paid forever. So my question is, how fast can you learn this? Can you be ready for this next cycle of the economy? Can you be ready for the next boom economy in 2 years' time? Can you take 2 years and speed learn, get yourself in a position where you are ready for this next boom, where you understand what it takes so that you have a lifetime of earning coming from each boom? If a boom happens every 7 to 10 years, and if you're on the boom, you crush it, okay? So commit yourself to working the long term, not just a day or a week or a month of learning. Commit yourself to becoming rich. Rich in your head, rich in your heart, becoming wealthy, wealthy in your head, wealthy in your heart. If you commit yourself to that, then I commit to you as well. Keep going, make sure. Can you be ready for the next economy? I believe you can. I believe you can be ready to take advantage of this thing. So my buddy Eva, I donated when Eva and Tony had a big charity thing for Haiti, and her quote is amazing. Education is the single most powerful tool to help people pull themselves out of poverty and change their life trajectory. Remember, you don't got resources, you got to be resourceful. That's the point of this whole thing. So two sides to money. Let's understand the two sides to money. And you got to be a master of both sides, not just one side. Even if you're making a ton of money, you're making a ton on income, you can still be poor because you don't understand the second side of money. And it's vital that both of these are in your head. With just one of them, you could be in a great position in life. With both of them, both sides to money in your knowledge trajectory, you have the freedom to do whatever you want, when you want, with whom you want, at the level you choose. You choose to fly first or fly private. You choose those things. You know, where are you going to keep choosing this stuff, and how are you going to make that a reality for you? So phase one of money is learning how to make money. And I am 100% clear. I actually had a young gentleman telling me 3-4 days ago that he was so happy that I taught him very clearly, when it comes to making money, if you're making 100 grand a year, I don't want you investing in things. I want you focused on making more. Once you've got yourself to $1 million a year income, because if you're making 100 grand, you've got maybe 5 or 10 grand left after all your expenses, maybe 20 after all your expenses to invest. If you're making $1 million a year, see, take that and learn more, build a better business, build a better thing, keep growing that whole thing. Once you learn making money, then you learn the flip side of that is managing money. In the beginning of your life, 100% of your money, if you look at that line, the yellow line there, you'll see 100% comes from making money in the beginning of your life. At the end of your life, 100% of your income should come from managing the money you've already made. You make money, then you make money make money. If it's either you working for money or your money working for money, one or the other has to be put to work, okay? Either you or your money is making you money. So you got to make it. Then you got to put enough aside to manage it. And from managing it, you build success, but stay focused. All right. So cash flow, this is the make side of things. We start at the bottom of this ladder. I hope you're taking good notes. We start at the bottom of this ladder. Active income. We go to work, okay? And whether you work for someone else or whether you work for yourself, it's active income. For you to make money, you got to show up. Even if it's your own business, still you got to make money to show up. Whether you're a doctor or a lawyer who gets paid a lot of money to show up, or a basketball player or a truck driver, whatever it is, if you have to show up to get the money, you are at active income. Our first goal is to create passive income. To create income that comes in most often without you doing too much work, okay? I'll give you an example. My daughter, I was just in Florence, Italy. She's studying over there, and we were chatting, and I said, what do you want to do in the next 10 years? Because I don't ask my kids, what do you want to do with your life? I said, what do you want to do in the next 10 years? She said, you know what? I want to travel a lot and see a lot of the world and you know, work out what I'm going to do. I said, how are you going to fund that? Because, you know, I always joke with my kids that, you know, we're not rich. Daddy's rich. You're not rich. Okay. You got to make your own fortune. That's what you got to do. And so she said, you know, maybe if I do graphic design, because she's a photographer, graphic design, all that stuff. I said, you know what? The problem with that is you're trading dollars for hours. The problem with that is that you can't make more money than the hours you work. What if you built a business where you sold something? What if you built an Amazon dropship business? What if you biff? What if? But you got to make sure you're making money that's not tied to the number of hours you work. And that's where passive income comes in. Once you hit massive income, that $1 million a year, or maybe $500,000, depending upon where you are in the world. Some of you in the world, $1 million is not a lot. Others of you, because of where you're at, $500,000 is a ton of money type thing. So from cash flow, we get that whole active methodology. We then grow to passive, then we grow to massive. That's what our goal is, all right? So then we flip over, we got to do the other ladder of wealth. So we climb the cash flow ladder. Now we got to climb the capital ladder. How does that work? Well, you start out with an investing level called retail. What does that mean? You buy shares on the stock market, you're paying retail. You go and buy a franchise, you're paying retail in most cases, okay? And what you're doing, because lack of knowledge and lack of capital means you have to pay what the market is offering it at. People say, oh, that seems awful. No, that is better. Putting money into a mutual fund is better than not investing at all. Buying shares at retail on the stock market is better than doing nothing at all. People seem to think because they're paying retail, it's a bad thing. No, it's 100% a good thing. The challenge is when you pay retail and fees, okay? If you're paying retail and fees, if you're paying someone to pay retail for you, then that's where we have a challenge. We can get into more of that. So from retail, we move up to a wholesale investment level. That's where we learn how to negotiate. It's where we learn how to buy things at less than what they're worth. When we're buying a business, how do we buy a business for less than what they want for it? How do we buy real estate for less than what it's advertised for? How do we do that? How do we buy in bulk? How do we get on that sort of thing? Professional or sophisticated investor level of investment. And ultimately, then with capital, we want to create capital. We want to, if we look at business, we might create a franchise that other people invest their capital in. If we look at real estate, we might do a development that other people invest their money in. If we look at the stock market, we might build a company and take it public, an IPO, and people buy the shares from us type thing. So if we do all of that, we understand this partnership of finances and we commit to our massive income. We commit to learning that we get a massive income. We commit ourselves to passive income. We commit ourselves to getting up that ladder. We commit yourself to a plan to build generational wealth, not just enough wealth for you to be okay, but generational. You commit to that, because here's the thing. If you shoot for $1 billion and you fall short and you only get 120 million or 80 million, are you still okay? If you shoot for 1 million and you fall short and you only get 80 grand, you're not. Shoot for the $1 billion, commit to generations. Again, give me the yeah factor, gang. I want to know that you are committed to yourself. Again, all I ask of you today is to implement what you learn. So if you want to become, and if you want your family to come from old money, it means money that's been invested for quite a period of time. So we got to make sure that that's what you learn how to do. Now, one of my great friends, Sharon Lecter. Sharon was the co-author with Robert on Rich Dad Poor Dad. She's actually the #1 best-selling nonfiction author in the history of the world. Her books on the Think and Grow Rich for Women, when she rewrote Napoleon Hill's book. Actually, up in that top corner, that's her husband, Michael. He runs the family ranch. They got a beautiful ranch in Arizona. And that's them at the football in my suite down in Arizona. But I've had Sharon speak for us thing. She says it very clearly. Money is a life skill. And as parents, grandparents, and interested adults, it's up to us to make sure our children are prepared for the financial world they're going to face. And here's the thing. You want to prepare your kids or your grandkids or your nieces or your nephews, you got to get good at it first. It makes sense that if you're good at it, then you can teach it to them. So my question to you then is, when and why do you want to be rich? When and why? When is up to you. When should be any time between now and 10 years from now, okay? When do you want to be it? Because it shouldn't take more than 10 years to do it if you follow the plan. Okay, you got to build yourself, build the plan, follow the plan. And why do you want to be rich? Do you want to be rich just to show off? That's okay. It is in the beginning. I remember the reason I wanted to be rich as a kid so I could afford Levi's 501 jeans. I know it seems stupid, but as a kid at 13 years of age, my whole brain was I just need Levi's 501s and Adidas or Adidas Roams. That's what I needed to know. It would be cool. 13 years of age. So you got to come up with your why. I don't want your reason to get away from something. I want you to do it forwards. What do I mean by that? See, the first level of goal setting is away, getting away from a negative. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be. The second level is moving towards something, saying, I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to have this much in the bank. I want to own this many pieces of real estate. I want to have a business that does this level of income. And the third level of goal, once you've achieved level 2 and you've got the stuff for yourself, you've got the house, you got the cars, you got the stuff, you got the investments. Then you move on to level 3, where it's like me, where it's a legacy. What can I leave behind? How many people can I teach wealth to? Learn, earn, return. I'm in the return phase of life, okay? I've done the learn, I've done the earn, I'm in the return. That's why I'm here working with you today. So, if we understand this simple thing, why are you here today? Okay, why are you on this webinar? You're different to most people. You got to understand that, right? You're not the same as most people. You have dreams and goals bigger than most. Now, whether you've documented or whether they're still just in your head and in your heart is okay. We now, right now, today, have to understand that level that you commit to becoming the person you need to become. You commit to becoming the person who knows money, understands business, understands life and success, all that sort of stuff. This young man, he understands success. You might know him, Conor McGregor, crazy young guy. But here's the thing. He's got his head screwed on. He might do a bunch of acting out there on TV and some crazy stuff. But he says it real clearly. Always look to learn. Learning something new is a great feeling, the feeling of progress. You know, I just sit there and say it. And Conor said it real well. Nothing good ever comes from worrying or sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. Keep positive and keep pushing on, and things will turn good. Love the way that kid focuses on life and to go and be a superstar champion and build a multi-hundreds of $million whiskey company. Phenomenal, phenomenal from his background to go to there. So what is the secret of real wealth? Well, let me tell you who already knows it. Venture capital funds know it. Warren Buffett, who I showed you the picture of earlier, he knows it. There's 3 asset classes, okay? I mentioned them already. Got to have cash flow and capital for something to be called an investment. If it has cash flow and capital, it's an investment. Otherwise, it's not an investment. All right, business, real estate, stocks, they are the 3 classifications of investments, but we got to work the secret out, okay? Now, if we understand the secret and we understand what we're aiming to do with this thing, then we stop playing on the same field as the big boys. We stop playing the same game. When you get onto the game with the guys and gals that make the biggest money, you get it. So how much easier would it be to create wealth in your life if you played the same game as them? You've got to be playing this. Capitalization at speed is key. How do we capitalize? We'll get to more on that in just a moment. That's why business is first, real estate second, and shares are third. Let me explain that to you, why business is first, real estate is second, and shares are third. If you can add value to something, it should be the first investment you make, if you can add value to it. So here's the thing. If I buy a share, let's say tomorrow I go out and I buy shares in Apple, great stock, great company, doing amazing things out there in the world. Is it a good share to buy? I think so. I still have them, okay? Now, here's the thing. What can you do personally to add value to Apple other than be a customer? Not much, okay? So you're betting on the management of that company to make it a great company and make more money for you. Real estate, you go and buy a piece of real estate, you go and buy a piece of property, you buy a house. What can you do to add value to that house? You can clean it up, you can paint it, you can add new carpets, you can redo the gardens, all that stuff. You'll add approximately 30% value to it. Now, I know some people say, oh, you'll double the value, you'll do that. Maybe you can do that 1 or 2 times in 100, but you ain't doing that every single time. Every single time you want to do it, 10 to 30% increase in value. That's without knocking it down. That's a whole business of real estate. That's not an investment in real estate. Business, here's the thing about business. What determines the value of a business? The value is determined by the profitability of that organization. So make sure you understand the profitability. If you double the profit, you just double the value of the asset at minimum. If you triple the profit, quadruple the profit. So should it be a good thing to learn? Yes. So when I get into business, here's my strategy. I buy them, I build them, and I sell them. What do? I buy them, I build them, I sell them. Write that down. All right. So if I'm buying a business, though, you got to have two things. Number one, you got to pick your niche, depending upon where you're at in the world. And number two, you got to know the rules. Okay. What are the rules you should follow? I'm going to give you my 8 rules. Okay. I promise to give you my 8 rules. Here they are. Number 1 rule, the business is surviving despite itself. This is also known as the idiot rule, okay? That means the people running it don't really know what they're doing, but the business is still surviving. They don't really understand. They're not great at business, but it is still surviving. It's making a profit somehow, and you can go in there with common sense and fix that thing and add value to it. Number 2, repeat business equals profit. Write that down. I only buy businesses with repeat business. That is rule number 2. Rule number 3, they've got to have low skill, easy to find employees. I do not want to buy a business where it's hard to get staff. I do not want to be in a business where finding people, I have to train them for 6 or 12 months to get them on board and do that whole thing. I want a business with low skill, easy to find employees. Okay. Number 4, we must sell a staple product or service. Okay. We must sell something that people already buy. They already know. Why am I in the commercial cleaning business? Is it easy to find cleaners? Yes. Is it a repeat business? Yes. Is it a business where the product or service people already have a budget for it? They know they need to buy it. Yes. Number 8, invest in cash flow, not assets. If I'm going to buy, I don't want to buy an air conditioning manufacturing company because I'm paying for all the assets, all of that machinery that builds it. And what's going to happen to that machinery over time? It's going to reduce in value, and I'm going to have to replace the machinery and put more capital into the business. I'd rather buy an air conditioning installation company, air conditioning servicing company. I don't have all of that machinery to buy. I don't have to buy the assets. I'm just buying cash flow. Number 6, must have a great jockey. I love racehorses, Kentucky Derby coming up. I love racehorses. And one of the things that I love about it is that if you put a great jockey on an okay horse, they can win. I want you to think about that. An okay business with a great management team can win. Okay, very important aspect of it. Rule number 7, do the work. If you're buying businesses, 50, 10, 3, 1. You look at 50. How many you look at? You look at 50. Out of 50, you'll probably find 10 that meet your rules, okay? Out of the 10 that meet your rules, you're going to make offers on about 3 of them. Out of the 3 you make offers on, you end up buying just 1. Do the work. Don't be lazy. Lazy people buy the first business they see, and they wonder why they ended up not doing a great deal, okay? Rule number 8, I'm willing to walk away. Yes, I make offers on 3, only buy 1. Why? Because in due diligence, if I find something wrong, I walk away. Be willing to walk away from deals. If it's not the best deal, if it's not a deal I can brag about to my friends, I'm walking away. So how do we build a business that works without you? Because we got to buy them, then we got to build them. Well, there's 6 steps. Again, you can read this stuff in my books. This is in this one, The Business Coach, okay? Understand that stuff. Get on Amazon right now, or go to bradsugars.com, buy all my books. We start with mastery. There's 4 areas of mastery you got to learn, study, and understand. We move to marketing. There is a 5-ways formula for marketing. Again, if you're not on my podcast, if you're not on my YouTube channel, get on there. Learn this stuff every single day. Systems, there's 9 steps to systematizing a business. Team, there's 6 keys to a winning team. Again, read my book on team building. Read my book on systemization. Read all 10 of my books that are on marketing. I have 10 marketing books out there. You got to read them. My latest one, I don't even have a copy, sold out of the dang thing. So it's called Raise Your Hand Marketing. See, that's how good I am at marketing. We're sold out of the book on marketing. So then we go to scale. There are 5 disciplines of scale. That's in this book down here. This one called Pulling Profits Out of a Hat. Read, study. Then we get to sell the business. How do we build it so that we can sell the thing? That's what we're looking for, okay? Someone repost number 1 and 2. Yeah, Scott, I go pretty quick with this stuff. Thank you, Manon. I think that's how I pronounce it. I'm hoping I'm getting it correct for you. So when you learn how to build massive results, you then go to sell the business. Now, selling it is about 4 things, okay? Yes, you got to know the niche you got to be in, okay, and what the niche sells for. The multiplier means the multiple of profits, EBITDA. How many times profit does that sell for? This formulaic approach. I want to build a business that I can sell for a multiple higher than the multiple I paid, and I want to increase the profitability. So I've multiplied the profits and got a bigger multiplier. Therefore, I get a much better result when I go to sell this thing, and therefore I learn how to create the value of the business and know what it is worth selling for. Multiplier and multiple will come first. Multiply the profits and get it working under management, so it's now sold at a higher multiple of profits. Instead of 2 times profits, I'm moving it to 6 times profits. Instead of 4 times profits, I'm moving it to 8 times profits that I sell it for. Know your niche, know who's buying it, and know how to value the business. So learning the big game. Let's go back to that point. All you have to do is learn it. You got to follow the systems and commit to your plan. Is it worth the pain of learning and growing to make your dreams a reality? Give me a heck yeah. Give me a yes. Is it worth the pain of growing? Yes or yes is the answer that I'm looking for right there. Because when you understand that as you learn and grow, people ask me, what's your biggest success in life, Brad? I always tell them very clearly, me. If you saw the snot-nosed brat I was at 13 and you saw how I had to learn and grow and become who I became, you would understand why yes or yes is important. So here's a question. If you're presented with a faster, easier, better way, doesn't it make sense to just do that? Faster, easier, better, more comfortable, just do it. You know, progress, Buzz Aldrin, you know, 2nd guy on the moon. Keep in mind that progress is not always linear. It takes constant course correction, often a lot of zigzagging. Unfortunate things happen, accidents occur, setbacks usually painful, but it does not mean we quit. You are correct, Buzz. That's actually him taking me up in the 0 gravity plane, going 0 gravity jumping. Buzz was feeding me M&Ms in the air. They're floating through the air like doing that thing. But we have to understand cash flow is mainly business, so we need to also understand capital gains, capital growth. We want cash flow so that we can afford to borrow to build capital. Real estate allows you to add value and leverage in so many more ways. So let's take a look at it and understand the real estate. I know we didn't say we're going to talk about that today, but I want to show it to you. Rule number 1, okay? The biggest investors start with the business first. They make money in business first, but then they put their money and store their money and keep their money in real estate. They keep it there. It sits there. It makes them more money. They plant it, they make it, they hold it. The biggest buyer of farmland in the United States right now, guess who that person is? Bill Gates. Dang, that's important. Now, here's my biggest important factor on real estate. Someone else pays for 80% of the asset. If I go and buy a house tomorrow, let's say the house is valued $1 million, okay, investment property. Even let's do 100,000 just to make the math real simple, okay? I go and find a $100,000 house. I got to put in 20%. Now, I know some markets in the world are 30% and some markets are 5%, but on average, it's going to be 20%, right? So I put in the 20%. I then put a tenant in the building. What does the tenant do? They pay the mortgage. They don't pay rent. They pay the mortgage. So over 20 years, if I take a 20-year mortgage, that tenant pays for that mortgage for me, okay? If my kid was 1 year old or your grandkid 1 year old, I can buy them a house at 1. Over 20 years, that thing's going to be paid for them. That's a 400% return. You paid for 20%, someone else paid for 80% of it, even if it doesn't go up in value. Now, what do we know? Why is there a seesaw here? What we know about real estate is that rents go up. And when rents go up, all of a sudden people are like, hey, it's cheaper to buy a house. So they start buying, therefore prices go up. Then rents go up, and then prices go up, and then rents go up, and then prices go up. And the more demand there is, obviously, the more demand in different cities around the world, that's what we're looking at. Mickey D's does own a lot of land, Scott, but the biggest buyer right now is definitely Mr. Gates. So you can speed up real estate. See, if you can just wait for the timing, absolutely, you can buy it and wait till it goes up, or you can speed up the strategy of capital gains. So my strategy is pretty simple. Hang on, I just clicked 2 buttons right there. My strategy is I buy it, I renovate it, and I redraw against it. So what does that mean? Buy a property, right? I buy a house. It's generally a little run down. It needs paint. It needs gardening. It needs new carpets. It needs a better kitchen. I'm not going to spend a ton of money on it. Not like the TV shows. They overcapitalize on those TV shows, way overcapitalized. I can teach you how to do it and do it in a much faster and better way. I then renovate that property. And from the renovation, I then go back. What's my goal when I redraw? My goal is to get my deposit back as fast as possible. My goal is to increase the value. So I can go back to the bank, get my deposit back. My down payment comes back. And then I go and do another one. You can speed it up. Once you learn the system, you build that. And ultimately, we play Monopoly. 4 greenhouses becomes 1 red hotel. This is one of my students. See the guy in the middle there? That's Ron Hoy Fong. 20-something years ago, I taught Ron real estate. Ron is in Auckland, New Zealand. He created a group teaching real estate. And it's called Renovations. You can look it up, Auckland, New Zealand. This event here is where Ron and his spiritual advisor and, of course, his money advisor came together. The group had purchased $1 billion in real estate in Auckland, New Zealand by doing a simple strategy, buying 2-bedroom apartments, turning them into 3-bedroom apartments. Look up Ron, check Renovations out. Phenomenal group, amazing things they're doing. Why do I love real estate? You know, if I make it with business, I make the money with business, I manage the money by putting it into property, I manage the whole thing. I get cash flow, I got capital. I make sure I learn first, earn second, return. Commit to your dreams and goals. Commit to becoming that person. Learn and plan with me. Come along on the ride. Learn, study, grow, keep learning, and then take the actions once you've done that whole thing. So, would you agree with this question? Again, give me a heck yeah out there in your mindset. Would you agree? Do you need to invest to be rich? Of course you need to invest to be rich, but you got to invest first in you, in your knowledge, in your ability, in your plan. That's what you've got to do. You've got to make sure that you know where you're going. My buddy, Gary Payton, he's the glove. His son is now actually playing the NBA. Talk about an amazing thing. A guy who's an all-time all-star. And I love this. He says, you make sacrifice. You sacrifice yourself. Do you want to possibly win a championship, or do you want to be the same person you were when you were 20 and get those same numbers? I love that about Gary. Always wanting to be better. If you keep going to get better. So, the reality of today, I'm going to quickly take you through this. In the short time together we today have condensed and cram-packed and squeezed together as tightly as possible a whole process for your cash flow capital, meaning your wealth plan. And even if you just take a tiny fraction, if you take one idea, one thought, one thing that we covered today, and you know, you feel like you've taken a giant leap forward in that. I don't know what you knew about wealth and how to buy, build, and sell companies before coming on this call today, but I'd be a safe bet that some or all of what we've covered today is new and valuable to you. Just a reminder, we covered off on the success formula. You've got to use it. You got to build your dreams, got to build your goals, got to do your learning. You got to keep doing that if you want success. We took a look at the ladder of how you have to grow and how you get better and how you become the person that attracts the level of success for you. We followed the process of how we buy them, we build them, we sell them. We understand the wealth plan. We've taken a look at the real estate. How do we buy them? We renovate, we redraw against them. Obviously, there's a lot more detail, hence, what we're looking at. If you take a look at that, now, so far today, I need to ask you these questions. Was our time today so far enjoyable? Did we get a lot of cover? Did we pack it in? Did we go through fast? Have you found it valuable to be doing what you're doing today? Do you have more clarity and confidence, which is why I started with this whole thing, asking you that question? Have you come away with ideas on how you can build a plan for your wealth? Things that you can use, things that you can go and do. Can you see how one or two things that I showed you today can help you with your wealth plan? Also, is it fair to say that using this system will give you a significant advantage over those who don't know it and don't understand it? So I believe you have two choices today. I have absolute confidence that you could take everything we covered here today on your own, go out and put it into action and get results that you previously thought were not possible. Absolutely think that's the case. I'm certain that just with the information we covered on this webinar today, left on your own with your own resources, time, and effort, you can go make the most valuable thing. You can make way more than most people can. But if that were the only option, I would say it'd be a worthy ideal to pursue. If that were the only way you could make success from this. What if there was another option, though? What if there was an option that allowed us to do this together, you and me to work on this together, a chance to go deeper than we can in one measly hour or one measly webinar, connecting together one measly time? What if I played an active role in your results over the next year, 5 years, 10 years, however long it is, and took a responsibility for you and your success and an obligation to your outcome? How would that make things different for you? Do you think that in a situation I could empower you with any and all resources at my disposal to stack the deck in your favor, to make this success for you all but inevitable? If I had shortcuts and support systems and additional insights to go even deeper and more thorough into getting you the results you want, the desire, and quite frankly, results you deserve, if I had such an option for you, would you love to hear about it and what it could do for you? Yes or yes? Type it in for me. How are you going to say yes to this one? I want to know if that option was there and I would be your partner helping you become successful. Is that something you want to know about? Is that something you want to understand and what it can do for you? And that's why, my friends, it's with great pleasure I introduce you to my entrepreneurs training. The Billionaire Training Program, 2 days live, you and me together, 2 days of training you how you can buy, build, and sell your way to millions. 2 days to get you to that point. The Entrepreneurs Training, it's very simple. It's a step-by-step educational and action-based program on how you buy, build, and sell companies for generational wealth, and how you build a business that works without you, that is easier, simpler, and more enjoyable than you ever thought possible. See, this is 2 days. On the first two, on those 2 days, I'm going to go into how to buy, build, and sell companies. I'm going to give you an outline online workshop where for 2 days, the totality of my knowledge on how to invest in companies and make millions for you and your family. Day one, we workshop the key principles of wealth. Then we dive deep into the best industries to invest in right now. Where should you be building a business right now with the easiest growth plan, the highest multiples for sale? When we take a look at the rules, build your strategy, your plan, pull together that whole thing, the whole learning, the scripts, the strategies and negotiation, the valuations, the deal structuring. I will give you my system and the confidence skills to go and make your first offers. Day two, then we look at the build and the sell, how to build it fast. I take you through my top 50 strategies that I use in almost every business. So very powerful, and yet we workshop them into absolute simplicity for you. The 5 methodologies I use to sell companies. Again, the scripts, the paperwork, all of these things I use to make the deals happen. Of course, it's all about the multiple and the multipliers, as we already discussed. The sessions are structured to turn your ideas into implementation in real time. So you don't just leave with a bunch of good ideas. You leave with your rules, your niche, and your plan already defined to create generational wealth for you. See, when I look at the people that have come through this course, and you can read about them, how they turn money into money, what they do, real estate, money, business, money, all the different things that I make sure from Australia, from the UK, from here in the US, no matter where they are in the world, the systems apply. Tens of thousands of people come through this thing. See, once you complete this, you'll find deals everywhere. And anytime a great opportunity presents itself and you know a deal is possible, you'll be able to leap into action with a newfound sense of confidence, knowing full well your ability to complete due diligence, to negotiate, structure an offer, to buy any company. Often, and I'm going to teach you this, how to buy it with none of your own cash. You'll structure strategy after strategy to grow and scale almost any business with your own strength and passion. And you'll knowingly put together a sales structure that guarantees you a high multiple and amazing returns. On top of that, we do monthly Q&A sessions. Every time you want to ask advice, if you're putting a deal together, you come on the monthly Q&A group. You ask the questions of me. I help you structure your deal. I buy into your future. When you've got a deal to put together, you come, you ask. I give you the answers on those. Also, my library, technology, one of the greatest things of technology is now all of those videos I recorded for 30 years of teaching, all of that stuff becomes something. It's your wealth library. It's included in the deal. Not only that, you get to join the Facebook community, our Billionaire and Training community of more than 3,000 members. all the tribe. See, being part of a tribe, being a graduate of Billionaire in Training is something that, and whether it's just to celebrate your success, whether it's to say, hey, I did great, and get a pat on the back from others who know, like, and appreciate what you're doing, this is the thing. If you go out there and say, okay, all of this learning, whether it's 1 week, 1 month, 2 years, however long it takes you to get it, if you say to me, Brad, listen, I'm not as fast as other people. It's going to take me 4 or 5 years to do this. Great. I'll be with you for 4 or 5 years. I don't care how long it takes. I keep teaching and I keep doing this sort of thing. There's an alumni of thousands that are here to help you with this. So in the right hands, this deal is worth millions of dollars, hundreds of millions. You saw John's testimonial, 300 million. I could show you many more hundreds of millions testimonials. If I was to say to you, okay, I want you to put down 50 grand to enroll today, even if it meant 12 months from now, you had $1 million more, that's a fair exchange, right? If I asked you to put down 50 grand, you went out and built your millions, that's not a bad thing. But I'm in the business of stacking the deck in your favor, okay? I want to say, if you said, okay, it's a $20,000 investment, even the simplest entrepreneur made tenfold in short order, then it's a good investment. However, I want to make you the deal. If you act right now, right here today, it's $7,997. I'm going to get the team to put the URL in the chat room. They will insert that URL in the chat window. That's right. Not a million, not 50, not 20, 7,997. In fact, that's $2 grand less than what I charged for this program 20 years ago when I was teaching it. Why? Because of technology. Now, by the way, if you sign up today, you insert that URL, grab that URL, team, and take it and use it. By signing up right away, you're going to get your hands on some very extra special bonuses. Take the URL and insert it into your chat window. Do it right now, people. Grab that URL from the chat window. If you sign up today, I'm going to give you some bonuses. Bonus number 1, another 2-day workshop. That's right. Another 2 full days with me. The scalability workshop. I'm going to teach you my 25 by 4 by 3 formula. You'll walk away with 300 actionable strategies to grow the current business you're in or any business you buy during this whole process. Make sure you understand. So not only do you get 2 days of learning from me, you get 4 days of learning from me. That's what we're going to cover off on. That's how we're going to do this thing. Now, then we go to another thing. Here's the next one. I'm going to do 2 days because here's the thing. You buy a business, I'm going to spend 2 days teaching you how to scale that thing. On top of that, I want you to live the best life you can. So I have a 2-day workshop on purpose. It's also $8,000 or $7,997, right? Again, you don't have the resources. You got to be resourceful. You got to make a commitment to yourself. You got to do this sort of thing. So imagine how exceptional life would be if you stopped working for success and started attracting it to you. That's 2 days on building a life plan. How you actually do that. The best personal growth workshop you ever do. We do it over 2 days, and that's what makes that a reality. Then we go into another 2 days. So hang on, you're not just getting 2 days of training. You're not getting 4 days of training. You're not getting 6 days of training. You're getting 8 days of training with me live on the Zoom, doing it here from the studio. You get 2 days on real estate, okay? How to buy, renovate, and redraw against real estate. 2 full days on that. So we're getting 8 days over the next period of you learning this whole thing. There's the link, gang. Make sure you've grabbed that URL, insert that URL into your window so you have it. This is the thing. Then on top of that, I'm going to give you online training, not only my entire library, but my latest training, the thing I built this studio for, my 30X business, 30 minutes a day for 30 days on business, 30 minutes a day for 30 days on life, 30 minutes a day for 30 days on wealth. That's your starting point. 90 straight days of 30 minutes a day learning. Imagine what's going to happen with you do those 90 videos. Imagine what's going to happen. 45 hours of you and me together on top of the 8 days we spend together, but 45 hours. Now you can do that. On top of that, it is phenomenal to sit back and start think. These are, yes, Bill, these trainings are vital that we do have. That is absolutely the case. So on top of building that, you will walk away from this whole program, this university, with a wealth plan, with a life plan, with a business plan for you to create generational wealth for you and your family. Now, on top of that, if you decide to sign up today, you commit to yourself to do this today, I'm going to let you bring the second person along absolutely free. You can bring your wife, you can bring your husband, you can bring your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your friend, whoever it is, your son, daughter, dad, mom, whoever. You get to bring a second person on. Grab that URL, put it into your thing. Let's put the URL up back in the chat window. Thanks for reminding me, Kevin, to put that chat back in the thing. Thanks, support team. So on top of that, I'm going to record all 8 days. All 8 days, you get a full high definition recording of it, so you can go through it again and again. You know, 1 or 2 times you might need to go through this thing. Even if you need 4 or 5 times to go through it, you can go through it that way. On top of that, it doesn't make sense for me to sit here and say, I'm asking for you to invest today and then wait to sink your teeth into the live events and wait for you to get the results. No, I want you getting results immediately. That's why the online training starts immediately. It starts today, starts this minute. The moment you get in there, you get access to that full library. You get all of the 90X, the 330X programs immediately to get you started. So on top of, you not only get the 2-day entrepreneur training for the $7,997, that is a deal in and of itself, $2,000 less than what I used to charge 20 years ago to do this thing. Why? Because of technology. It's made my life and your life so much simpler in that way. You get the full 2-day scalability workshop. You not only get that, you get the full 2-day purpose workshop. You get the full 2-day landlord workshop, each of them worth $8,000 a piece. You get the 30X life, business, and wealth, another $3,000 value right there. You get the second person free. So what's that? 4,832. Right, there's another $35,000 worth of the second person getting. You get all the recording. You get the pre-profits. You start right now. You get the monthly meetings. You get the online chat group that you get a part of. And I'm going to give you a guarantee. You don't think it's easy? I'm going to make it real simple for you. See, here's the thing. I'm not asking you to make a decision today. I'm not asking you to say yes or no today. What I'm asking you to do is make a fully informed decision. Okay, I'm asking you, so you don't buy a house by just standing on the outside. You got to get onto the inside to make a fully informed decision. So once you get inside of this, here's the thing. If after 30 days with me, you don't think you've got $100,000 in learning, 30 days doing the online learning, doing the portal, doing the thing, if you commit and do the learning and you go in there and do it, not only if you don't like it, will I give you your money back, I'll pay you an extra $1,000 just for your time. Because you've invested time. I don't want you to waste your time. So you don't have to make a decision. You know, you've got really 2 no-risk options here today. Number 1 is do nothing. And number 2 is buy today. Both of them give you 0 risk. You got to get on the inside to make a great decision. But see, doing nothing or buying today, only one of these no-risk options can change your life. Only one of them can change your life. Grab that URL, put it into your chat box, and go. Click the button, sign up, join me for this program. You know, really simply, if you get to build your dream life and business and dream business, generational wealth, your friends and family will notice your confidence. I literally guarantee it will work for you in 30 days, or I pay you. If it doesn't work for you, if in 30 days you're not so much more confident, if in 30 days you don't sit there and go, this is my dreamed outcome, I know 100% I'm going to make it a reality. And I know I can make the money back real fast, especially if you have your own business right now. You'll make the money back almost immediately. Apply the sales, the marketing, all of that stuff. And what is it going to take from you? It's going to take half an hour a day. It's going to take 8 days of sitting with me, building your plans, your wealth plan, your life plan, your business plans. Make sure you do that. Everything is delivered to you on a platter online. I cannot make this any simpler or easier for you. And you can start your training right now today, okay? So as we finish up our webinar here today, you might find yourself in the maybe category, okay? And if there's something here for you and you're still thinking, maybe, I'm not sure. When I encounter a maybe, it's usually one of the few things, okay, that's getting in the way of you making a yes decision, getting in the way of you committing to yourself, getting in the way of doing that stuff. You know, I generally one of 3 things is getting in that way. Number 1, it's going to be about time, you know, and I agree. There's so much going on in life right now. I got 5 kids, 11 companies. I got friends all over the world, family all over the world. There's more time restrictions and things taking up our time today than ever before. You know, that is 100% the fact. But given that we all have the same 24 hours a day, and the same 7 days a week. It's not so much how much time you have, it's what you do with the time you have. That to me is what's important. And so I always say that if you could go out and make a list of the top 10 or 20 things you're doing currently to build your wealth, to build your life, to build your plan, and you make a list of that top 10 things and you're honest with yourself and you said, you know what? What if I cross off the one that's at the bottom? What if I take that one at the bottom thing on my list that isn't really serving me or it's getting me the lowest level of results or no results, or in fact, it's actually taking me backwards. You cross that off and you write in Brad Sugars. Well, time is what you make of it. And I know this is going to be time well spent and you sign up on this. So grab that URL, put that URL back in there, team, so it's right in the front of the chat. A second one, it could be the money. Okay. And every day there's more and more demands on our money. We know that. And I know that, if something happened in life, people find the money that they need to. Again, I as a kid, I didn't have the resources. I had to be resourceful. Biggest challenge is immediate versus long-term spending or investing in your future. That's what we got to look at. I had to go and do this. If you had to find the money, of course you could. If you knew that this was it, there is no risk to you, not one. This is your future. You aim it to commit to yourself and your future, your family, yourself, your friends. And even if it is your future, is it a must right now? That's why you need to join us. Grab that URL, put it in, do the thing, grab it, put it in, and hey, presto, let's get to work together. Now, by the way, if you've got a group, a large group, and you want to talk to the team about bringing a large group, please email support@bradsugars.com. Team, put that email in the chat window for everybody. If you want to bring a large group and you want to do that, or if you're in a position where you go, you know what, Brad, I can't afford if you need some help getting to it, if you need a payment plan of some sort, then you email that email, support@bradsugars.com. The other one, not sure it'll work for you. Again, I know that for many people, they're not certain. And that's why I say to you, get on the inside. Don't make a decision of yes, no today. Make a decision to get started. If there's no risk, if you fail at this thing, if you get in 30 days, you do all of the learning, you study for 30 days straight, and you say, you know what, Brad, I studied for 30 days straight. I don't see how I'm going to make an extra 100 grand this year. I don't see how it's going to work for me. Then good. I'll write you a check for your money back, and I'll give you another $1,000 just to pay you for your time. Okay. I don't want anyone taking any risk other than me. Change your mindset in 90 days. You change the world. Lord Sugar, I got to interview him, and when I sat down with him, he very clearly said, you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, that instinct in you. You can't learn it, you can't buy it, you can't put it in a bottle. It just comes and then it comes out. But having the spirit isn't enough. Getting the knowledge is what makes it a reality. See, when you come to a decision like this, you got fear, you got excitement kicking in. Sometimes you got to let excitement win. My greatest mentor, who I only ever got to meet twice, once when I was a 16-year-old boy and once when I was 31, as his opening act in the Sydney Convention Center in front of 5,000 people. His name is Jim Rohn. Unfortunately, I never got a photo with Mr. Rohn. Didn't think about it back then because it wasn't really a social media world. But Mr. Rohn said 3 things to me. He said, never wish your life were easier, wish you were better. He said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job and read 1 book a week for the rest of your life. I got your next 18 weeks covered. They're my books. Okay, get on Amazon, get them, get on bradsugars.com, do that thing. Click that button now. Will.i.am, famous for being a part of a band, but also a great DJ as well. He said, there are no problems that can't be solved. The world is too full of options. If you can't solve the problem, it's because you haven't found the right option. But the answer is always there. Be resourceful. Find your way to making your reality. Become the best version of you possible. Be the best you. Make sure you're the best you. That's what we're going to do. Now, if anyone's got any questions in this, Jack, great summary right there. There's the link again. If you got any questions, type them into that chat window. Only too happy to grab your questions and take them with you. Okay. Yeah, any questions, team? If someone has asked questions previously and I missed them, that would be great. My buddy Steve Irwin, that's Indian Robert and my kids way back when. That's us feeding a crock. Education is all about being excited about something. Seeing passion and enthusiasm helps push an educational message. That's why I'm so passionate about this thing. You got to sign up now, gang. You got to join me. You got to make that commitment and do that whole thing. Yes, Belinda, buy the book, but come join us for the whole program. Come join us for the university. Come hang out with us for the next year and 2 years and 5 years, however long it takes for you to get it. That's how long we're going to be here helping you. Get on those monthly calls, those monthly things, and ask the questions. Do the reading, do the study, do the learning. That's what we got to do to make sure that this becomes a reality for you. You know, this is what's happening. You know, how do I make myself do these things on a bigger scale where the public will see me? And it's a moment where I've stopped before. It's like on a wall. Any thoughts on that? You know, that's such a great question about what it is that holds people back from doing things. You know, Bill, ultimately, it's growing into the person you need to become to make those dreams and goals a reality. I go back to when I was 16 years old. I went and met Mr. Ron. Well, actually, I got back a little before that. 16 years of age, I went to Sunnybank State High School, and I won the Rotary Youth Leadership Award. And that sent me away for weeks-long training on behalf of the Rotary Club. It was all about learning to be successful and learning to be a leader. And one of the things that I got from that is that I could commit to any goal as long as I was willing to grow into that goal. And I remember probably 3 months later, maybe 4, Mr. Jim Rohn coming to Brisbane, and I paid for a ticket to go and see him at the town hall. I was probably one of the only kids in the room. But at 16 years of age, watching Mr. Rohn, I set a goal to myself of financial retirement at age 25. And Bill, similar to you with, you know, this music thing, the whole thing, I had to grow into my goals. You know, the goal I set at 16, I couldn't achieve as a 16-year-old. The goal I had to grow into was by the time 10 years later, 26, where I could actually achieve that goal. It took me 10 years to grow into my goal, 10 years to grow into the person that could do it, achieve it, and make that a reality. You know, if you look at your dream world, the dream outcome for you, the family, the friends, the travel, the health, the wealth, the cars, the whatever it is for you that is wealth. Okay. And you take that and you say, okay, Brad literally guarantees that this is going to happen for me. Brad literally guarantees, he's giving me 100% guarantee that this will happen for me if I do what I need to do. You got to do the study. You have to. You can't not do the study. No one can do your studying for you. Schwarzenegger said it, no one can do your push-ups for you. Well, no one can do your learning and growing for you. And so, yeah, I think that's a really important one. Gil, question, vendor financing being the only one I can focus on at this point. Do you have any more thoughts on how to find the sellers? Yeah, I do. And it takes about 2 hours on that one, Gil. So vendor financing is a process of actually educating the seller. So what we have to do, and what I teach during the afternoon on the second day, is actually how do you educate the seller so that the seller can move through that process with you? How do you educate the seller so that they are capable of thinking it through to a point where they actually are willing and not only okay with vendor financing, but actually suggest it to you that they would be willing to do that. We want them to suggest it to you. So business brokers want their commission. And yes, that's generally the case. Most of the time, you have to get the business broker to suggest it or the seller to suggest it. So that process is what we learn on day 2 of that workshop. Remember, there's 8 days of us together in the next 12 months working through this stuff. There's 90 days online plus an unlimited amount of online. You've got so many resources at your beck and call. You got those monthly calls to ask me questions. So if you've got a deal, Gil, you just get on the monthly Zoom chat and hey presto, away we go. We answer that question for you. So great question, and definitely important. Now with the just coming back to that whole thing of growing into yourself, I think that I had to, I guess, I don't know how to put it other than if I didn't get clear on who I needed to become, if I didn't get absolute clarity on who I needed to grow into, and that's really what the purpose workshop is all about. Um, Once I got clear on who I needed to become in order to do, in order to have, then it made it so much simpler for me. Listen, gang, I'm going to finish up with you here today with this thing here. Your dreams and goals deserve your commitment. Growing into your dreams and goals deserves your commitment. The learning, the work you got to do to grow and become the person that makes your dreams and goals a reality deserves your commitment. So make a commitment. Do it. Do it now. Click the button. Email the team. Do what you need to do. Really look forward to it. Take care. Bye for now.